Well, big welcome to you as well. It's Slush. Is your first?
First Slush. I love it.
What do you think?
I love it. It's a lot of fun.
Keep the mic close to your mouth. They've asked me that, so I'll ask you.
Sound good?
So you just gave a presentation at Slush. What was it about?
So my presentation was about building billion-dollar game franchises and kind of tapped into my experience working in the industry over the last 20 years. And I've had the fortune of working with a lot of great independent developers in my career.
Name some names.
I mean, Neversoft and Treyarch, Infinity Ward, many others that started just like companies that I see here today at Slush. And so for me, it's very exciting to be here. And the independent developer community is like a feeding ground of innovation and new creative ideas.
Awesome. So you mentioned that your talk was about building the billion-dollar franchises.
Yep.
And you've been involved in a few, Tony Hawk, Guitar Hero. What are some of the secrets that you shared on stage?
Yeah, so today I shared 6 common characteristics that I've seen across my career that were shared among each one of these billion-dollar franchises. And the goal for me was really to share these learnings and to put a framework around about 20 years of marketing that hopefully was helpful for mobile, because what I see in mobile is that people making some of the same mistakes and not thinking through maybe the same things that we've done year in, year out at companies like Activision. So that was really the essence of my talk, was to kind of share those 6 core principles.
So you spent quite a few years working for the likes of Disney and Activision. What do you do now?
So today I'm CEO of AdColony. We're a mobile ad network that's focused exclusively on high-definition video.
But you actually mentioned that you didn't start out as an ad network 3 years ago, right? So
that's right.
How did the company start out?
So the history of our company for AdColony, and a lot of people don't realize this, is that we started as an independent developer and a launch partner for Apple. We actually made over 200 apps, and there's no other company in our space that have that kind of background and pedigree. So gaming is in our DNA. We understand gaming very well. And what was unique about our experience making apps was that every single one of our apps were free. So we went after as a big audience, and we monetized our apps through advertising. And that's the origins of AdColony. We created this ad tech because we saw that there was an opportunity to do a better consumer experience in mobile apps. We weren't fans of banners, and it really didn't generate that much revenue. So we created a way to deliver high-definition video, which has been a key for success for a lot of the developers that we work with today.
So you essentially did a startup, and then you pivoted to another model. You've seen so many times before.
Yeah.
How's that working out for you?
It's working great. So I love being...
Can you give us some numbers?
You know, I mean, today we're working with 70% of the top grossing developers in the world. We've grown over 400% over last year, and last year we grew over 400% before the year before that. So we've grown from a very small company in 2011 to a company that's leading in the space around mobile video.
Do you think video is the differentiating factor in mobile advertising and making it work? Or do you think there's multiple opportunities, not just one of them?
Yeah, I mean, the trends that we're seeing in this industry is we're seeing the trends away from banners and away from rich media that kind of clutter the user experience, and to use less advertising. So because of the revenues you could generate for one video, you could kind of clean up all the banners in your game experience. And what we focus on is placing videos in moments where consumers are receptive to a video experience. And generally, the session times in our network are around 15 minutes. And so there's a couple opportunities where you could use video, and that's our expertise.
So you mentioned that you work with 70% of the top grossing app publishers and developers. What about the long tail? Can they work with you as well?
Absolutely, yeah. No, I mean, I think any publisher, any developer could download our SDK on our website. So our SDK is free. What a lot of people don't realize, we started working with Supercell a year and a half ago. Before they became such a big success. I see everyone dropping their name here today, but we actually saw some of the great innovation that they were doing in their game, like in summer 2012. And we saw that there's something very special there, and we wanted to kind of help them build their audience, help them monetize. And in the very same way, I've met a lot of companies here in Helsinki that I think are the future, supercells.
So and, in a very indirect way, you actually, you kind of paid for the party as well, in a very indirect way.
I guess so, yeah. we sponsored actually the Black Stage.
Really?
As a way to kind of give back to the gaming community, and for me, it's just a thrill to be here and share some of my learnings across my career.
Great. So aside from Finland, what other geographies do you see as hotbeds for innovation in gaming?
I don't know what other place in the world has, Rovio and Supercell. I think Japan is another area that is just phenomenal in their experience in this model, free to play, is second to none. So I know, DNA is here today, and many other companies. We work with DNA and others, and I am in honor of the industry and the expertise, especially from Japan.
So just out of personal interest, we just did an interview with John Riccitiello, former CEO of EA, and he was talking about the fact that consoles still have a big future, and mobile doesn't necessarily cannibalize, the console gaming industry. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I talked today a little bit about the differences between console and mobile. I've worked across so many different platforms and console cycles, from the 16-bit days through the current evolution of consoles. And gaming isn't unique to one platform, obviously. So when I think of billion-dollar gaming brands, I think they could cross many different consoles, but many different platforms. However, I do see that consoles face a very steep hill in front of them, and that I see more evolutionary change instead of revolutionary change with the new generation of consoles. And while I think they're great for enthusiast consumers who can really appreciate things like the translucency effects and very deep features for our immersive experience, I've always been passionate about the mass audiences. And when I started my career in gaming, I figured that one day, the President of the United States might be a gamer, and that he might choose to game next to television or music as a true entertainment medium. And to me, I see that opportunity happening in mobile.
So with AdColony, do you see yourself ever expanding to actually serving ads on the big screen? Because consoles are going to be always on now. They're going to constantly connect to the networks.
Yeah.
So theoretically, you could expand.
Yeah, I think it's something that we've talked about and we've looked at, especially with smart TVs. And as the app ecosystem evolves onto the television set, I think we will be have an opportunity to play in that area. But our technology and expertise is really around native apps and not PC or the web, and our focus is really around native apps.
So what's the main challenge for you as in the mobile ad industry, really in general? What do you think the main blocking factor is for growth or further growth?
For us, I spend more time with education than anything else. Whether it's a conference like this to educate people more broadly about marketing and practices to be successful for their franchises, or working with Madison Avenue to talk about why mobile video is an effective way to kind of reach an audience different from television. There's a lot of disruption happening right now in the marketplace. And I find one of the biggest barriers, or the things that I spend my time doing, is, educating people and trying to build a bridge and get them comfortable with this new form and this new platform we call mobile.
Great. So this is your first startup after a long career at Disney and Activision. Do you see yourself ever returning to the corporate side? At least the big corporation side?
What's guided me is I've always been one who's passionate about the products that I've worked on, and it was my passion in gaming that led me to work at the Walt Disney Company, and then later at Activision and helping build some powerful brands. But I'm very passionate about marketing as well, and so when I saw what this technology for serving high definition video, I think having a great product that was differentiated is really important. And so I have to have a passion for a product, and whether that's at a small startup or working for a big corporate company, I think having passion and working with great talent is the most important ingredient for success.
Final question to wrap up. What games are you playing now, both on consoles and mobile?
You know what? Throughout my career, I've always played every single game I've brought to market. So while it's in development, it gives you the authenticity and the ability to speak with the developers. And so I spend my time nowadays playing the more popular games that are in our network, from DNA, from Supercell, from even Grand Crew. And I actually love playing games that might only be released in one market. And sharing with my kids game experiences that I know are going to be future mass market successes. So,
what about consoles? Do you still play them?
To be honest, I play very little. And I think it's a combination of I just don't have the disposable time, and I think that's what happens as you get older. And that's why I think consoles are great for kids who have a lot of time on their hands, and they have a high affinity for gaming, and hardcore gamers who play a lot of games. But for more the casual consumer like myself and casual gamer, I've really been focusing more on mobile.
We'll see if the next generation of consoles can bring some change to that. Because it's been a while since they updated as much as they're going to do now.
No, I'm excited to see what they do. And look, I think consoles are great for gaming overall. And even the most enthusiast gamers, they game on all platforms. So I hope they do well.
All right, Will, thank you very much for taking the time and educating us. Thank you very much.
Thank
See you next year at Slush, hopefully.
Thanks.